Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to discuss about superconductivity and this is my second lecture on superconductivity. In this lecture, I'm going to discuss about Meissner effect, types of superconductors and BCS theory. And firstly, Meissner effect. It was discovered in 1933 by two scientists, Meissner and Ostenfeld. Those two were German scientists, and what did they observe? And coming to its statement, when a weak magnetic field is applied to a superconducting specimen at temperature below Tc, field lines are expelled from the specimen. What does that mean? If we consider a paramagnetic material initially, this is a paramagnetic material, and we already know paramagnetic materials allows the field lines to pass through them. And if we apply any magnetic field to pass to this paramagnetic specimen, the magnetic field lines pass in this way. Now I am going to decrease the temperature of this specimen, this paramagnetic material, and in the range of critical temperature. That means I am going to decrease the temperature of this paramagnetic material to the temperature less than the transition temperature or critical temperature. We already know what is critical temperature. It is the temperature at which a material transfers from normal material to a superconducting material. So I am going to apply this temperature to this paramagnetic specimen. Then it is going to convert into superconducting material. And at this point, if we apply the magnetic field, it is not allowing the magnetic fields to pass through the material, and it is expelling. That means it is not allowing. Look how it is expelling. In this way, it is going to expel the magnetic field from the material. That means in this case, there is some magnetic field that is passing through the material. That means there is some magnetic field, and in this case they observed that the magnetic field through the material at the temperature less than Tc is equal to 0. And what does that mean? Actually, it is showing that diamagnetic nature. We already know that diamagnetic materials, they get repelled by the magnetic field. That means the magnetic field through the diamagnetic materials is 0. And in another way, we can also prove, we already know that induced magnetic field B is equal to mu naught into H plus I, where H is the applied magnetic field and I is the intensity of magnetization. And now we observe that the magnetic field through the specimen is 0, and hence mu naught into H plus I is equal to 0. That means H is equal to minus I. That means I by H is equal to minus 1. They observe that I by H is equal to minus 1. What is this I by H? It is nothing but susceptibility. They observed that the susceptibility of the material is being minus 1. That means it is showing diamagnetic behavior. We know susceptibility of paramagnetic materials is greater than 1, and susceptibility of diamagnetic materials is less than 1, and susceptibility of ferromagnetic materials is very much greater than 1. And here we got susceptibility of given or taken material as minus 1. That means it is showing diamagnetic behavior. And they clearly proved that superconductor is a ideal diamagnetic material. Superconductor is an ideal diamagnetic material. This is what they extracted from Meissner effect. And then let me discuss about types of superconductors. And before discussing about types of superconductors, I would like to discuss about a term called critical magnetic field. Critical magnetic field. We already know what is critical temperature. Critical temperature is nothing but the temperature at which a material transfers from normal state to a superconducting state. And what is this critical magnetic field? Critical magnetic field is nothing but it is a minimum magnetic field that is applied to the superconductor to destroy its superconductivity. That means if we apply this amount of field to any superconductor, that means after that it is not going to be in superconducting state anymore. That means it is going to convert to normal state. And even in the Meissner effect, we also discussed that it is a weak magnetic field. This is the reason why we told that when weak magnetic field is applied to the superconducting specimen. That means a particular field can destroy a superconducting property. That means, and this critical magnetic field is always a function of temperature, that is Hc of T. It always depends on temperature and it is equal to Hc of 0 into 1 minus T by Tc whole square. And what is again another term is critical current. Critical current. This we already discussed that the critical field is nothing but the amount of field that has to be applied to a superconducting material to destroy its superconductivity. And this magnetic field that we are applying, that need not to be applied externally. This magnetic field that we are applying need not to be applied externally. We don't want to apply this magnetic field externally, and if we apply the current itself, we know current and current always create a field, right? And if we apply a certain amount of current that is equivalent to that field, it can destroy the superconductivity of any material, and this is equal to I, and it is represented by IC. Critical current is equal to 2 pi R into Hc. We can describe this critical current as it is the amount of current, minimum amount of current that is to be applied to the superconducting material to destroy its superconductivity. That's all. And next, now I am going to discuss about types of superconductors. Types of superconductors. Based on sensitivity and critical field values, these superconductors are classified into two types: type 1 superconductors and type 2 superconductors. And now let me discuss about type 1 superconductors. What are these type 1 superconductors? These are the materials or superconductors that obey Meissner effect completely. That means now I have taken a graph with magnetic field on x-axis and current on y-axis, and this graph is a straight graph passing through the horizon. That means I have taken a superconducting material and I have plotted a graph with magnetic field, critical magnetic field and current, and the graph is coming like this, and this is the point HC, that is critical magnetic field. Before this it will be in the normal state completely, and after this it will be in the before this it will be in the superconducting state, and after this it will be in the normal state completely. And that means up to this point it is obeying the superconducting, it is obeying Meissner effect completely. That means it is being in the superconducting state. And what are the properties? These are very sensitive superconductors, and it will have only one Hc value, only one magnetic field value. And then these type 1 superconductors are made from pure materials like aluminum, gallium, indium. These are very pure materials. And we also discussed that these materials are very sensitive. Why these are sensitive? Because the Hc value, that critical field value of this type 1 superconductors is very low. That means by applying a small amount of magnetic field also, it can destroy the superconducting nature of that material. So these are very sensitive and cannot be used commercially. Commercial purpose we cannot use these materials as they are very sensitive. And then what are type 2 superconductors? And these type 2 superconductors, they will not obey Meissner effect completely. That means if we take a type 2 superconducting material and up to a with H on x-axis and I on y-axis, up to certain point it will obey the superconducting Meissner effect, or it will be in the superconducting nature, and after that it will not, in type 1 superconductors it will change from superconducting state to normal state at a peak value. That means it will convert very sharply at one particular point, but in type 2 superconductors, up to this point it will be in the superconducting state. After that it will not change into the normal state sharply, and it will slowly gradually decreases and then converts into normal state. If we consider like this, and it is Hc1 value and some point over here it is Hc2 value. In this type 2 superconductors, below Hc1 it will be in the superconducting state, and above Hc2 it will be in the normal state. And what about this area? And in this area it will be in the mixed state. What is mixed state? We can discuss about it. Let me go to properties. These are very hard materials, not like type 1. These are very hard. And then we can see here there are two critical field values. Type 2 superconductors, it not only having two, it may have three also. That means they won't have one critical field value. They will not have one critical field value. That means it may have two critical field values or three critical field values, like that. And example for these type 2 superconductors are alloys. That means some group of pure materials. These are not pure materials, that group of alloys. And then these are already we came to know that these are very hard. Why? And these Hc values of type 2 superconductors are nearly 500 times greater than that of type 1 superconductors. So these are very hard materials, and so we can use them for commercial purpose also. And these are about types of superconductors. And then let me discuss about BCS theory. This theory was proposed by three scientists, Bardeen, Cooper, and Scriffer, in 1957. And what is this BCS theory? Why this theory came? And actually Meissner effect is unable to explain the microscopic behavior. What is microscopic behavior? In the atomic level, it is unable to explain why superconductors having that much current persistivity, and why superconductors are different from normal materials, and all these topics were clearly explained by BCS theory. And Meissner effect and London's equations, they fail to explain the BCS theory, fail to explain the microscopic behavior of the superconductors, while BCS theory explained all these terms in microscopic level. So this theory is also called as microscopic theory of superconductors. And it can be explained with the help of two theories, or they are electron phonon electron interaction. Here, what is electron phonon electron interaction? What happens in the superconductors? If at all there is a positive lattice like this, and an electron passes like this, in this way, what happens if a positive ion core is there and an electron passes by the side way of an electron, by the side way, then what happens to that electron? It actually attracts, it will be attracted by this positive ion core. That means all the positive ion core get deformed due to this electron. And if now any another electron also passes through this deformed core, this electron also gets attracted to this core, and this is called as electron phonon electron interaction. And what happens over here? What happens means, if I consider an electron with a wave vector k1 is passing like this, and if I consider another electron coming in this way, and I am representing the wave vector as k2, and they will get phonon exchange. That means this electron transfers a phonon to this electron. That means it is losing a virtual photon. That means it is becoming k1 minus q, and it passes over like this, and it is getting attracted, that phonon, and passes in this way, and it gets attracted and it gains a phonon. And I am representing this as k1 prime and this as k2 prime. Now if we consider what is the initial momentum, k1 plus k2, and what is the final momentum, k1 minus q plus k2 plus q. That means there is a conservation of momentum. By the exchange of phonons, they are getting attracted towards each other, and this is nothing but Cooper pair. This electron pair is called as Cooper pair. Then what is this Cooper pair? It plays a very important role to explain the superconductivity. What is this Cooper pair? We have already seen it is nothing but a pair of electrons. Pair of electrons. And how they get interacted means through the lattice deformation they will get attracted towards each other, and this can be explained by Fermi distribution function. Which is f of e is equal to 1 by exponential e minus ef by kt plus 1. What is this ef? Fermi energy. What is this Fermi energy? It is a level where below which all the levels are completely filled. That means if I consider this as Fermi energy level, the levels below this are always completely filled. That means if another electron comes, it has to be surely occupied to Fermi energy level. This is called as Fermi level. And then if I allow the Cooper pair to I want this Cooper pair to occupy this state, then it has to be occupy this Fermi energy level. Cooper pair means 2 electrons. That means if at all it occupies the Fermi energy level, the energy will be 2 times of EF, because the energy level is EF and it will be the 2 times of EF. But Cooper pairs always have less than the energy of 2 EF. That means it is lowering its energy. When the energy is low, it will be in the stable state. When energy is lowered, it will be in a stable state. That means if we consider normal electrons movement in any normal material, the conduction will be in such a way that people dancing randomly on a crowded floor. What does this mean? How the electron move normally? Electron moves in such a way that it is very difficult to walk in the crowded floor, and if we dance in the crowded floor, what will happen? There will be lot of collisions. It will lead to lot of collisions. This is how an electron behaves in the normal materials. But what about the Cooper pairs? Their movement, we already told that they will be in the stable state, and how these Cooper pairs move is they are compared like a couple moving in a regular order. That means what happens if there is a regular movement, there won't be any collisions. Collisions leads to resistance. But here there are no collisions, so there is no resistance. This is why superconductors will have current persistence and zero resistivity or infinite conductivity. All these are explained with the help of these two phenomenon: electron-phonon interaction and Cooper pair theory. Cooper pairs are the main point that we need to explain the superconducting phenomena. Like Cooper pairs, they always lower the energy so that they will have maximum stability. so that they will not have any collisions, and so that the resistance will be very low compared to the normal electrons, those are moving in the normal materials. And while in the superconducting state, there will be the Cooper pairs and there will be no resistivity, and so that it leads to the high conductivity. And we can also say at temperature less than Tc, there are no Cooper pairs. That means below critical temperature there will be no Cooper pairs, and at temperature equal to critical field, Cooper pairs are formed. At temperature below Tc there will be Cooper pairs, and in very high amount, and at T equal to Tc there will be the Cooper pairs, and at the temperature greater than Tc there will be no Cooper pairs. And that's all about BCS theory. If you find this video useful, please like, share and subscribe to my channel Physics Store, and thanks for watching.